everyone for joining. Please raise your hands with questions. Miles Ehrlich.
Hey, Coach. The team came out really energized and physical tonight, throwing the first punch in that first half and really midway through the third. What changed that move momentum Seattle's way? Did the foul trouble of Natasha, Beck, and Michaela up front force the team to let up on some of the aggressiveness?
Honestly, I think the best player in the world did what the best players in the world do. I don't think it was lack of aggression necessarily or a loss of their will or energy or anything like that. I think, Stewie took the game over and forced the referees to make a call one way or the other. When you're the best player in the world, you tend to get the call more often than not. And, I thought that what changed was Stewie took over.
Thank you. And Beck Allen had another tremendous game, even after losing most of her first quarter to early foul trouble. 17 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and some excellent offense created off of the dribble for you. Could you talk about how indispensable she's been to the lineup in the second half of the season?
Yeah, she's been tremendous. We've talked a lot about her defense, and I think it needs to continue to be said. Her energy has been so consistent. Beck's somebody who has a tendency to be hard on herself. She has not let herself get out of a game in a long time. She has not let herself get frustrated and take herself out. She's been really resilient. I'm really proud of the way that she's grown in terms of like her emotional and mental approach to what she's doing. And obviously, her ability to score the ball really steadies us when we go on some of those droughts. When teams change something and it takes us a little longer to read it and adjust, she's able to go create and knock down a shot for us in some big moments. So yeah, I can't say enough about that.
Thank you so much.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Coach. I noticed that, Sabrina was playing so well in the first half, facilitating in addition to her scoring. I'm just curious as to what the reason was for her playing a bit more off the ball, especially in that fourth quarter.
It would depend on play calls. And it would depend on what types of switches. So a lot of the off ball stuff was to try to create a shot for her.
Okay.
Three. The pick and roll switches that they were doing because they went small, she lost the advantage where she was turning the quarter against Mercedes Russell in the first half. They started to switch guards onto her. And so she lost that quickness advantage. And so it made more sense to try to generate some stuff for her off the ball.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm typically a broken record here, but with checking in on Natasha Howard's progress and just evolution, what were you able to see from her tonight? Do you think she looked a bit more comfortable, with what she was able to do?
Yeah, I think it's little by little with her. I just think every game there's progress. I think the progress that the team is making is really exciting. Losing sucks. Losing is awful. It's cancerous. But this group has maintained a real desire to continue to grow, and they understand that it's about more than one season or one game. So with Tosh, I think that while she did have a couple of forced, I thought, long contested twos where she just kind of decided she wanted to take a shot. I thought other than that, she was extremely good. I thought she battled her butt off defensively, made a lot of great plays. And I think that as she continues to get more and more comfortable, I think, it's just going to help us more and more.
Right. And finally, for me, I'm curious as to how you thought Benijah was able to contribute in other ways amid some issues scoring tonight and getting stuck on Stewie as well.
Yeah, she still made some big plays. She rebounded well. She always defends so physically and so hard and talks. It was a tough night for her. It was just a tough night for her. And, she's allowed to have those nights too. That's part of what, when Stewie can just step up and take over, we're still not at the point where there's this mega star, where we can just go, hey, give them the ball for the entire half, just clear out, let them go get a bucket. It's like we really have to score as a team. We have to, attack different schemes. We have to find mismatches, and I really take pride in that. I'm proud of the way that the team's looking for one another, and that the scoring tends to jump around based on, who has a matchup that's favorable. Yeah, I'll end with losing sucks.
Sure. Thanks so much, Coach. I appreciate it.
Jeff Magliochetti.
Hi, Coach. Thank you for joining us. After the Los Angeles loss, you said that the problem with the team there was that you didn't trust each other. How has the team sort of kind of bucked that trend a little bit, regained that trust in each other? What sort of examples have you seen, and how big has it come up during these stretches, and for the growth that might not be present in wins and losses, but in what you're trying to build for the future?
Yeah, I think that the place you're seeing the growth is in the communication in terms of trusting one another. There were periods where people would be frustrated, say something under their breath, walk away from somebody when they were trying to talk to them. They've been much more connected. And I think that respect for one another, listening to one another, taking constructive criticism from your teammates, that team holding each other accountable in addition to the coaching staff, I really think they've taken it to heart. And with the wins and losses, it's like, I think the Lynx had Rebecca Brunson, Simone Augustus, and Lindsay Whalen and won 12 games one year. And I could be wrong. You guys can fact check that, but I'm pretty sure they did. And it kind of puts perspective on this to me that, like, those are 3 Hall of Famers, and that they won 12 games with the 3 Hall of Famers they had. And this group bands together the way that they do. So, we're making sure that perspective is kept in our locker room. Everyone's really distraught right now, but I urged them after the game to take some time to also appreciate one another's growth and the trust in each other. So yeah, it's a great question. It's been an important part of the steps we've taken.
Fair enough. And one positive you could glean from this game, that unlike the pair in New York, Jewel Lloyd was held in check tonight. What did you guys do differently on Jewel, and how big was that in terms of keeping pace with a Storm team that was at full strength tonight?
Yeah, we were switching everything. We were switching everything the whole game, and I think that helped us control their perimeter players. I don't know necessarily that we stopped Jewel. I think it was more that their game plan was to try to get the ball into the post more, to try to exploit the switches. She didn't look quite as aggressive consistently to me, and part of that could have been that she, was trying to pick her spots and get the ball where it was supposed to go. Obviously they're one of the best ever at doing that. And so I would imagine that was a part of it too.
And last one for me, how could you best utilize these upcoming 9 days off, especially in such an unusual and, dare I say, stress-inducing time of the schedule?
Yeah, in terms of the stress, it's the same as it's been in terms of our group continuing to look at not just a performance-based mindset, but a growth-based mindset. It's really important that the outcomes of games, don't cause these massive swings in us, where we feel like we're the best team when we win and we're the worst team when we lose. It's never as good as it looks when you win. It's never as bad as it looks when you lose. That's all stuff that we're continuing to talk about for this next few days. I think it's going to be important that we rest, and get our bodies right, and everybody's healthy and energetic coming into this last stretch. Obviously, we're going to continue to work on the little details that slip, those late offensive rebounds, turnovers, continuing to recognize different defensive schemes and how to adjust and what to run against it. In the moment, those reads are really important. And again, they need continued reps. So we'll get them those in that nice week of practice.
Appreciate your time and insight, Coach. Safe travels home.
Got it.
Thank you, Coach. Next up, we have Rebecca Allen, Natasha Howard, and Kylie Shipp.
First question. Excuse me. My first question is for Beck. This probably isn't best to ask after tonight's game, but over the past 3 games, you averaged 8 rebounds, matching 8 rebound performances. What's been the difference for you in developing your interior game this year, and how important was it for you to work on that and become, a presence on this team in the paint?
Well, something that I know that I'm always able to do is rebound and just use, being athletic in that way and sort of helping out the bigs. That's another thing. There's so many, as guards, so many rebounds that you can go and collect. But it's just a part of my game that also Walt has told me that he wants from me every single time that I'm on the court. So I've tried to make that a bit of a focus.
Fair enough. And this question is for anyone who's comfortable with asking it. You guys have 9 days off before your next game against the Wings. So how can you best utilize these 9 days, and especially when this stretch comes at an unusual and, dare I say, stress-inducing time in the schedule?
Well, first of all, these 9 days that we have before we play Dallas, just taking our bodies, do what we need to do to stay healthy. Then that's not come back. We got to practice again. We start focusing on ourselves and also start focusing on who we play next.
Appreciate your time and insight, all you. Safe travels home.
Jackie Powell.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So I want to, I'll start with Kylie. I'm curious as to what did you learn about what to do in a situation like tonight where a player like Brianna Stewart just takes over like that?
She's an amazing player. So we knew that we needed help. We definitely could have used more help on her because she is great and make somebody else take over the game. But that's what I learned.
No, I appreciate that. I'm sure it's a work in progress for everyone. Natasha, I wanted to ask you about your comfort tonight. It looked like every single game, you're coming back into who you are as a player. So, on your birthday game, how did you feel, making the post moves and, executing?
I felt good out there. Still trying to get my feet underneath me still. We fought. We didn't give up. And we gave Seattle a fight for 35 minutes, and like I said before in the last media, we still learning. And this is a new group, and we still learning each other. We still learning how Coach Wall, Coach still we all still learning. And now we gotta do is just keep building, like we're a young team, and we gonna make mistakes, but we ain't gonna let it hold us at all as a team or as an individual. So we'll keep fighting, just keep building, and keep learning.
Great, I appreciate that. And for Beck, Walt talked about how it's really important for you all, amid this feeling of how much it sucks to lose, to take in a bit how y'all have evolved. So I guess what I want to know from you is what's an example of something that you will try to hold on to, in moving on from this loss?
I think just looking at the whole game as a whole, we played 3 very good quarters of basketball, and it's sort of been an issue for us throughout this entire season. Sometimes we will have longer breakdowns. I think that we did well with the ebbs and flows of the game for the majority of it. And it's just making sure that we don't make those small errors that happen in crucial moments towards the end of the game. But in terms of growth, execution, our defense, I think the bench, when they came in, they had energy. They played hard. They helped us get that that 10-point lead in the first half or whatever it was. So I think there's a lot of things to be very optimistic about, a lot of things to be happy with, but it's obviously still not the outcome that we're going for.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Good night and safe travels back.
Miles Ehrlich.
Hi, good to talk to you three. The team started the second quarter slowly, not scoring for the first 3 minutes, but then Sabrina was able to find Didi behind the defense for an easy layup, and off a steal, Benaja found you, Kylie, for a rhythm 3 in transition. How much of an emphasis was there tonight to try and push back against Seattle, who's always aggressive and trying to control the pace against their opponents? And for anybody who wants to answer that, sorry.
I would just say taking good shots was definitely an emphasis on tonight because they are such a good running team. Their sprint 30 teams are all great. So not quick shots, but good shots. I would say that's the biggest emphasis that we focus on tonight, besides good defense when we do get back, but just not taking quick shots in order for them to get going.
Thank you. And after hitting 8 of 12 threes in the first half, the team made just 3 of 9 in the second half. Was that a byproduct of Seattle shifting attention to the perimeter, or was that more of a case of good looks not falling consistently? Because you did have 8 players tonight. I think it was 8. Everyone who took a 3-point attempt made at least one 3-point attempt on the Liberty tonight, which is a really impressive feat.
I don't think it was to do with the 3-point. Like, obviously you want the shots to go in. Sometimes it's us playing a bit sped up and just learning to slow down in those big moments. But in terms of some of those shots in particular, like we're making the great decision of getting in the key or throwing it into the bigs, and then they're finding the ball out and flying out to shooters. So I don't know if that would be a criticism.
Okay, thank you. And just one for Natasha. You were passing the ball a lot out of the post, and you've talked a lot about getting sped up and getting your feet back under you, but you were kind of getting into, it looked like more of a flow within the offense. How are you feeling more comfortable out there, and how are you feeling with your teammates? Are you getting more comfortable knowing where they're going to be just within the flow of the offense?
Just being patient on the post. Just taking my time and not rushing things. Just feeling what the defenders plan me and seeing where the help is coming from. And I know where my team is going to be at all times. So yeah, I just been patient.
Thanks so much. Safe travels, everybody. Good game tonight.
Thank you all for joining. We will send the post-game notes and recording shortly.